it's Romania Black, and welcome to our second edition of JANUYAOI! So last week, we looked at A Foreign Love Affair, which was a nice, timely old classic. But this week, we're looking at something a little bit more recent that I have been recommended many a time since I first looked at BL. I think since I first looked at JANUYAOI on this channel, I have been recommended Hyperventilation over and over again. And I was like, okay, I'll get to it. And especially after last year's JANUYAOI, people were like, why don't you do Hyperventilation? And I was like, okay. But it has been a little bit of a journey with this series, especially with the anime or the Manwha, because it's a Korean. It's not anime, it's Korean. So I guess Manwha might be the more technical term, perhaps, even though that usually covers like Chinese animation. So, but anyway, it's been a little bit of a difficult, tricky find to find all of the episodes uncut as well as with English subtitles. It's not hard to find Hyperventilation, the animated portion. It's just hard to find it with English subs. And I finally managed to find a site that wasn't completely sketch that had the entirety of the 6 episodes with the English subs. Now, the bonus episode, the only place I could find it was with the, it does not have subtitles on it. However, we are also going to not only be watching the Manwha, the animated portion first, but later I'll actually be looking at the Manwha in English translation, and we're going to be reacting to it. So I actually have the Manwha with the English translation, the entire volume that we're going to actually react to after watching this and talk about as we go through. So that'll be fun. So I feel like that's going to be a fun trip to watch that. So if the extra bonus episode, I'm actually going to get to see it in the Manwha afterwards. So whatever they're saying, I'll end up knowing what it is. But this has been recommended so many times. I said I was going to wear red for JANUYAOI, but I feel like the fact this is called Hyperventilation, and just from the screenshots I've seen randomly getting it to pull up, I might need a little bit of a cooler color to handle this. So, but yeah, this has been recommended over and over again, so I thought, why not? We're going to check out the animated portion and then be able to also react and talk about the English translation of the Manwha as well. So I'm really excited for that. And I'll probably just have to edit out, when we do the Manwha reaction, edit out the steamier things that cannot be shown on YouTube. So the link down below is going to go with the animated portions. I'm going to watch both of them back to back. The bonus episode that doesn't have subtitles, and then the actual part that does. And then we're going to come back and then react and talk about the Manwha as we go through. So with that being said, I'm pretty excited, y'all. I hope you all are as well. But we're going to start Hyperventilation and see what this is about, and do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Well, that was good. That animation was gorgeous. The animation, it reminded me a lot of JANUYAOI. It had like that watercolor soft vibe to it, especially when they had Claire de Lune play. It reminded me a lot of just like the simple high school classroom scenes from JANUYAOI. But this was like JANUYAOI, only a little bit spicier, especially like the sexual scenes. I just imagine being an animator and going in and you go home and your friends are like, so what are you animating right now? And you're like, well, I'm animating the sex scene. So that's very artistically done, but leaves nothing to the imagination whatsoever. So, and then just the symbolism of his hand over Myungjae's mouth, and then the saliva and everything, and it looking like ejaculate, and it's like, and then just tying it all together, and the ring being for looks. So I'm really excited to read with you all the Manwha. I went online and found that Tokyo Pop is published the English translation of it, which I'm like, yay. Because one thing that is nice over the last few years is that there has been more and more BL translated into English through major distributors, so I don't have to go on sketch translation sites to try and find it. Like a few weeks ago, I like pre-ordered Coyote, the 4th volume by Zuraiya and Maru, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, a few years ago, I'd have to like just wait and go on a site to read fan translations, which is fine, but it is nice to have like that official copy, and it's nice to support the actual creators of the piece, even if they're only getting like, you know, a fraction of the royalties because it's through a distributor. That's still better than me reading for free online. I'm always for that. My big thing is if I'm going to do a review on this channel, I want to support the official release and support the creators. So I would love to like purchase the English copies to support them the best way that I can. Plus, you know, a lot of times through that, otherwise we wouldn't get English translations. And I unfortunately cannot read or speak Korean or Japanese. So that would, you know, put a damper on my channel just a wee bit. But so I found Hyperventilation. The cover looks like the two of them in the alleyway. The one man, he is very fine. He is a very fine man, right? And what I'm glad so far is that he doesn't seem to be like, there doesn't seem to be like that toxicity there. Like the fact that it's mutual. I liked so far that this is from what we saw from the animation, it was a mutual relationship. It wasn't just a guy, you know, experimenting for fun with this relationship. No, he liked him back in high school just like the other guy liked him. He just didn't admit it. And so now they're at their class reunion. It's like, well, after all these years, why not talk about it? So I'm going to be curious to see the story in full and to see like what we get. Obviously, if you get a chance to support, it's just one volume online, so it's not too crazy. But I'm going to be posting a few stills, but I'm probably not going to do like what I do with my normal manga translations. I don't want to post the whole thing all the way through. So I'm going to be talking about it as I go, but there'll be some shots probably come up in here. But I haven't read the manhwa, so that should be exciting. But yeah, just to sync things up, we're going to start this examination here of the manhwa here in 3, 2, 1, and let's look at this. Look at this cover. This looks so good. All right, I want to go back there. Oh, is it through there? Oh, it is. Oh, we go from left to right. I'm not used to this. I'm used to doing right to left with manga. So this feels different. All right, by Bang Q. I feel like that's such an alias. All right, hyperventilation, and then reference materials on page 149. Reference materials, you say. Okay. Oh, and the class president, Myung. Myung is the young man, and there we are in the alleyway. Okay, so we are going back to the animation. He's like, I want to go all the way with you tonight. Wow. So he was like forward being like, look, this is what we're going to do. And then it's 30 minutes ago. So 30 minutes ago was when they were at the Choeon barbecue. And so I want to see this. This is supposed to be a class reunion. Okay. And he says, what? Aren't you dating anyone? He's like, that's what I said. And so, okay, so he's fiddling with the ring, but he's not really dating anyone. Okay. Honestly, I've done that. I feel like, you know, if you ever go hang out with friends, especially if you go to a bar or something, if I'm going to a bar to hang out with friends, I'm going to a bar to hang out with friends. I'm not going looking for a date. So I have wore a ring before and worn it like on my hand to try to be like, leave me alone. I have done that before. So when we find out it's a fake ring later, it's like, oh, okay, that makes a ton of sense, right? And this guy's like trying to introduce him to someone, saying she looks nice, makes good money, and has a great personality. And he says, yeah, right, like someone like that exists. He's like, oh, trust me, you got to meet her at least once. I'm like, dude, sometimes too good to be true, right? And then he asks, is she pretty? And that's when the kid gets up that's when Myung gets up because he's like, the last thing I want to head is about this guy I've crushed on since high school asking about how pretty a girl is. He's like, that's the last thing I want to hear. So he's going to head out for a smoke. So his name is Seonho. Seonho, okay. And then he says, I think I'll just go home. And he stops when he realizes the class president is going to go out and smoke as well. Ah. And so he says, I like that in the manhwa, you see Myung's wording in like, it's not in a word bubble, it's just on the page. I like stylistically how that's done, because he's like, he's here. Maybe I should have left after all, because he's like, nothing good's gonna come of this. But then it ends up working out, right? And he grabs him with the hand with the ring. And then that's when he gives him smoke. I love that image of him with the smoke, and like he leans over, like the blues and the oranges of the cigarette against the blue background is so beautiful. We've talked about this with other series, but I don't like smoking at all. I actually hate the smell of cigarette smoke. I don't like smoking. None of my friends really smoke. And so I'm not into it at all. However, it always looks freaking cool in literature and in movies. And I'm like, why do they make it look so cool when it's the worst? So I do love the visual of it here. But those colors, he's like, am I drunk? I'll just smoke one and then head back. Famous last words. He's like, I thought your lungs were unwell. And he says, oh, I'm fine now. And he's like, what about conscription? And they're like, you can't be exempt from conscription just because of a collapsed lung. And I love that they cut back to the school with the fan and everything. Wow, this is literally like the animation is exactly like the manhwa. Wow, all right. I like it. Does he remember me? Oh, he remembers you. I love that this guy's like wondering if he remembers him or not. Man. So yeah, they talk about, apparently this classroom, they will not let them use the AC or the heat until after 2 o'clock. Interesting. And then, yeah, he like raises up his shirt and everything and has like the 6P's, the high school guy with the nice body. And he's just like, And so then they say that Main Young's pretty lucky, talking about how he doesn't sweat very much. And then, God, those guys were like total assholes where they're like, maybe I should get a hole in my lung. I'm like, that's a serious condition. Maybe you should. I don't know. Ugh. And they make fun of him because they say he can't go into the military. And then in typical teenage boy fashion, Song-ho says, I'm so jealous. He won't have to worry about taking a break from school. Like that's, even if he didn't mean it, even if he didn't necessarily mean it, that's such like a teenage guy thing to do, like just to kind of go along with the group and like rib each other, and he adds to the conversation even if he doesn't quite mean it. And Myung just kind of like, he's like, bullshit. Like he just gets kind of ticked off about it. And then we cut, man, the animation cuts right to it. We cut to him having the attack, and Song-ho takes him. He's like, the most disruptive one here is me. Why am I like this? It's sad getting inside of Myung's head because he's like, I'm not trying to be a distraction, just have this condition. And then in the manhwa, he realizes that he's leading him to the infirmary. Mae-young Lee. And the nurse isn't there. And so the hyperventilation, like he's like, you're holding your breath till the nurse gets there. What I like is that the manhwa does a really good job of making these two like look like high school students, and then when we cut to them when they're older, they look older. It's just Song-ho got ridiculously hotter, somehow hotter, and that like he had the really boyish face with the 6-pack, and now he's got the really handsome adult face with the 6-pack, right? He's like, that did happen, didn't it? And then he gets the cigarette, he burns himself on it. And so are we going to get to see what happened before then? I should get going. And he tells him not to go. Where'd Seon-ho go? I love the light shines on the ring there as Mae-young like goes to take his hand. Like, because Myung's thinking, you're wondering with his character, he's thinking, okay, this guy's married. Do I follow him into an alleyway? What do I do? What's going to happen? How is his morals if he's actually married? How does that work? But he does it because he's like, I like this guy and he's gave me an opening. Oh my gosh. And Song-ho is like, he wastes no time. Oh, I love that. Oh, where he's leading him away. Just like he led him to the infirmary, he's leading him away from the group. Oh, that's great. That is I love that shot. That's beautiful. Nope. I'm going to go back and take so many screen caps. That's great. I can take screen caps of that. I can't show you this next thing where they like go into the house and start getting it on. Min Young's pretty lucky. Man, the artist for this is just does a fantastic job. Like the expressions. I hate that they call him a cripple in this because that's like it's a dirty word. I hate that. And he says he can't do this. And you see the like ejaculate on his hands, and it's very similar to the saliva, and he's like, "Why? You like me, right? You came to the union to see me. You didn't even have friends from back then." And he's like, "Quit making fun of me. The whole time we were drinking, you were only staring at me." And he asks him, I will say this, he asks him at this moment, he's like, "Should I stop? I'll do whatever you want me to. Do you want me to stop?" Like he's given him the option. If you want out, I got my hand on your junk, but if you want out, I'll out. And he goes for it. He's like, "Nope, I like you." And then he says, "Your ring." Oh, I love that. "Take off your ring." And he does. To his credit, yep. Man, they almost leave in this. They almost leave more to the imagination in the actual manhwa than they did the animation. Almost, pretty much. Well, I say that, and now we cut to this. Never mind. He is like, his on fire. Like, he's so red. The Seonho. And then he sees the ring on the nightstand, and then sees him back from the past. Oh. And so then he had that on his hand. "I heard from the homeroom teacher that Myung had problems with his lungs, so he was allowed to sit out during gym class, but I never really paid much attention to it because I wasn't really interested." So he just heard that this kid could sit out gym class because he couldn't run, but he'd never really thought about it before. "Where does Myung sit? First column, third seat, or was it fourth? Was he good at studying? What class was he in during freshman year? Who'd he eat lunch with? Did he say he was coming on the field trip?" Oh, and they said sorry from earlier that day. So now, that moment that he was with him, now he's questioning everything. He's like, "Why didn't I notice this guy up until now? Why did it take me this long to notice him? Where have I been?" And then Seon Ho Han. The licking the saliva off the hands, I'm like, at that point I was like, oh, this is where we're at. Okay. He actually does like him. Okay, and then he comes back to his seat. Oh, and he's still kind of freaked out. Or no, he's back to his seat, but the Seonho is thinking back to that moment. And then the thunder. It sounded really close. I like that it's a running joke in this, that this one guy keeps using the F word, and somebody's like, "Why are you using that?" And he's like, "Are you my dad or something?" And then that image of Myung where he's just like looking at the rain, and he looks so sincere and just ethereal. And that's the moment that Seonho realizes he has his gay awakening right there in the classroom in the middle of a thunderstorm. I mean, I would say that the gay awakening was licking the saliva off of his hand, but this was like the legit gay panic moment of, "Oh shit, I like him. Oh, okay." And then I did like in the animation the effect of having the room spinning around him as he was remembering. And he said, "I've liked you since then, Myung. Don't cry. That's why I came here in such a hurry. But seeing you cry makes me anxious. I really like you. Even if I confessed everything, would you think I'm lying?" He's so well drawn there. He's beautiful. Would it all just sound like lies to you? Ah. And then, damn, he's a very nice looking man. The anatomy checks out. And he says it's over. It's really sad. And he thinks, of course, Seon Ho thinks that he's messed up because he's like, he probably thinks this is a one night stand. He doesn't believe that I love him. He doesn't think I'm being sincere. He just thinks it's all this one thing. And he's like, that's not the case. And so it's really sad because then like he doesn't realize that Myung loves him just as much, and they need to talk to each other. Oh, that's really pretty. I like that. Again, going to the train station, he's just there, and everybody else are just blurs. Yeah, him sliding the hand, when he slid the hand like under the shirt, I was like, that's a move. That's a move. And then him realizing he's wearing the ring. And we don't know how he got the ring on, but until the end, when he puts it on his finger, he says, I'll take it off. It's not a big deal. Really? Oh, I love him kissing it, and then it shatters. And so then Seonho is depressed and leaving, and he's running back. Has a very almost like a Paperman vibe where they run back to see each other. It almost reminds me of Paperman, that little short. I didn't know you smoked. You came to the reunion to see me, didn't you? And I love the juxtaposition in the manhwa of the past to the present. That's really cool, and seeing both of them. You were only staring at me. You like me, right? Yep. And again, I love seeing like the Seonho, seeing him like younger and then seeing him as an adult. And he's like in the shadows because he's all sad that Myung has left him. And then Myung's in the light. And I love when he clenched his fist. That was so good. And then I don't know what to say to him. Is he upset? I thought you'd left. That sight of him in the sunlight, the day breaking over him. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. He's like, your ring, I thought that you were with someone. Oh. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. Oh, but he doesn't explain the ring, does he? Until, like, maybe the animation did that. Oh. Okay. So we have character introductions. So Myung is 5'10". All right. Myung meaning bright, Lee meaning plum tree. Birthday is April 17th, 1991. April 17th, that's Huckleberry's birthday. He's an Aries, just like Huckleberry. As of writing this, he was 5'10". So he's not grown anymore since he was a sophomore in high school. Okay, so they were sophomores. Oh, so in 2008 they were sophomores, and they're currently 5. So it's been 10 years, right? So okay. So he's like, yeah, 27. Chinese zodiac, he's a goat. Western zodiac, Aries. Dream job, self-employment. He's a Go player. A Go player? Interesting. What? 9th dan professional. What? Top of the class. And he has weak lungs. He has received surgery since then. Okay. Oh, and there's him with his, like, school car with the ice cream. Okay. So, Seonho Han, meaning beautiful, wide, and Han meaning Korea. Of course. January 27th. So, he's an Aquarius. Interesting. And zodiac sign of the horse. 5'11" as a sophomore, and he's currently 6'1". Yeah, dude got a little taller. Recently employed at a large company, top of his class. Dream job as a diplomat. Served as high school class president. Nice. Aww. Yeah, he looks so innocent there, and did not have a look at the comparison. Like, his hair got a lot better. Guy figured out he needed some more hair on top of that head. Oh, so we got the classmates. The douche lords. We have Jaewoo Nam, meaning exist, spearhead, south, October 12th, 1991. A Libra. Dream job, millionaire. Current job, manager of a fried chicken restaurant. That's a great comparison. Nice. Middle to bottom of the class, likes to nag and nitpick. Oh, and the one that cursed was Kyungjum Kim, shining sky, iron, October 19th. And so he was a Libra too. Oh, dream job, PE teacher. Current job, Korean teacher. Why didn't you become a PE teacher? Middle top of the class, he tends to curse a lot. And then there's all of them from high school to now. Oh. And the backgrounds, I love the backgrounds. They were so pretty. Used a model. Yeah, I'm not much on drawing. Yeah, I don't like using background. I don't like drawing backgrounds at all. So someone using, I like this model of just using those backgrounds throughout. I don't blame you. I would rather draw people than backgrounds any day. Oh, and it's showing like where my seats are. Nice. And the changing of color from time and place to the backgrounds. Nice. The blues and the saturated. Oh, to show like the timing of day and everything and the emotions and the symbolism. That's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh. Oh, are we getting like models? Man, they just showed you like an entire thing on here. Oh my gosh. Saying like what exactly happened. Well, regarding the animation, I made sure to inform the voice actors to not repeat the same moans when the situation action is on screen. Well, that is some direction. Oh my gosh. Choosing the order and the extent of the scene through the script so the readers can see the way he puts it indirectly as much as possible. Dang! I love that this creator was like, okay, animators, here's my notebook. Here's my notes. This is what I got. Oh. So it says intensity increases when Seonho suddenly puts, and I'm quoting the reference materials. So there's an intensity meter. There's intensity meter and the director's direction. So as I'm reading this is quote unquote exactly what they wrote in this book. In the first section, which is light orange, says intensity increases when Seonho suddenly puts his length in when he was in the middle of caressing Myung. Yellow, Myung falls forward and intensity drops for a moment. Orange, intensity rises when the actual intercourse begins. Thrusting in parentheses. Expressing uneasiness, distress, and hate to oneself for being happy while doing it with the person he likes while the other isn't. Myung's unstable emotions rising to the top. Transitions to this point, the part where Myung believes he is dumped by Seonho, his first love that he waited for all this time. Ah. So then we have Myung turns helpless when Seonho's movements become rigorous and unsteady. He moans more often and louder than the beginning, and then there's the climax. To avoid the scene turning robotic, I've asked the voice actors to follow the chart I've made here. So they were just like, I love the creators like, okay, we're going to make a sex scene that works. So, it's amazing. That's amazing. So I guess the extra stuff, like the extra that we watched, is actually not in this, which is kind of crazy. I'm surprised. Because all of these right now, there's just a little extra, like lots of BLs from there. And that's it. Huh. How about that? Well, that was a lot of fun. That was really sweet, but it wasn't long enough, damn it. It was not long enough. How dare they? How dare they? We get one little volume and we get these little shorts, but we don't get anything more between them. Too short, y'all. It was too short. That's very sad. I really enjoyed that, though. The animation was gorgeous, and I'm glad to know that the creator took that much time and dedication to making this be as dynamic as possible. So yeah, wow. All right. That was really good, but I still feel it was too short. I wanted more. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts down below. I've already got the next 2 weeks planned out of what I'm going to be doing for JANUYAOI. So those have already been chosen. But one of the other manhwas I would like to do in the future, maybe for next year, if I don't do it sooner, would be like On or Off or something like that. Because I do like On or Off. It's probably my favorite manhwa that I've read lately. And it's currently complete until otherwise noted. So yeah. But I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. This was super interesting, and it ended up very sweet. At the beginning, I didn't think I would like Seonho. I figured he would be kind of like a more toxic male, like, counterpart to Myung, but he actually loved him and wanted the relationship to work. And so it was really simple and sweet. I liked that a lot, so good on you. Good on you, Manwha. It's nice to bust out one for JANUYAOI. So next week is going to be a trip, I think, going into this. So I'm going to prep a little bit ahead of time for it. But you guys will see what that is next week. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this reaction discussion. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yes, I will be back next week with a very interesting installment for this year's JANUYAOI. I'll see you all then.